How habits are installed and automated.
Navigating the tides of life.
The best and most beautiful things in this world cannot be seen or even heard, but must be felt with the heart. Helen Keller. The entrepreneur had learned to sail as a child. She'd loved the sensation of salt water on her young face and the feelings of freedom that being out on the vast sea brought her spirit. She wondered why she had stopped sailing. In that instant, she also considered why she'd given up so many of the pursuits that had brought her such harmony. And she cherished the fact that in this basic moment, in a small boat gliding through the endless Indian Ocean, she was truly open and wildly alive. Our culture measures success by how much money we have, the amount of achievement we complete, and how much influence we reach. Yet, thought the entrepreneur, while both the spellbinder and Mr. Riley agree that those victories are important, they've encouraged me to consider how well I'm running my life by another series of metrics as well. By my connection with my natural power and by my intimacy with my authenticity and by the vitality around my physicality and by the size of my joy. This seems like a much better way to look at success. Being both accomplished in the world yet peaceful within myself. The entrepreneur was noticing she was becoming less machine-like and more human. She no longer checked her technology compulsively. She couldn't remember feeling so creative, so available to the miraculous wonders of life. She'd never been so awake to the blessings every day on earth brings. And she'd never, or at least she couldn't recall a time when she had, felt so thankful. Yes, utterly appreciative for everything she'd experienced. She realized the hard points of her life had strengthened her and made her more insightful, interesting and wise. A fascinating and richly colorful life is stamped with many scars, she began to understand.
The Habit Installation Protocol. I hated every minute of training. But I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. Muhammad Ali. Many decades ago, Albert E. Gray delivered an address for salespeople in the insurance industry. He called it the common denominator of success, and it distilled what the author had identified over 30 years of study as the greatest key to fortune in one's business, family, health, financial and spiritual lives. Gray explained that the common denominator of success, the secret of success of every man and woman who has ever been successful, lies in the fact that they formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. Top producers make it a habit to do the high-value activities that average ones don't feel like doing even when they, too, don't feel like doing them, the billionaire continued. And by practicing the desired behavior over and over, their self-mastery and personal discipline grows. And the new routine becomes automated. So, the billionaire expounded, returning to his story about the making of the Taj Mahal. For 22 years, not 22 days and not 22 months, 22 years, over 20,000 workers toiled in the scorching Indian sun. Block of marble by block of marble carried from immense distances by over 1,000 elephants, the army of craftsmen steadily erected the structure you're seeing. They faced architectural roadblocks, environmental extremes and unexpected tragedies along the journey. Yet, they were focused, fearless and relentless, dazzlingly committed to doing whatever it took to get the emperor's gorgeous dream done. The Taj Mahal is such a direct metaphor for you cats to consider on the subject of staying with the commitment to a new habit through whatever hardships show up. And remaining sincere to your ideals not only in the seasons of comfort but especially when it all gets terrifically difficult. And that's why this morning's coaching is so exceedingly important. What you're about to learn will help you implement so much of the philosophies I've shared with you up until now. This is a fascinating, riveting, confusing, and exciting period in the lifeline of the world. For those showing up as victims each morning, and every day, the future will be very hard, dangerous and frightening because they won't know what hit them. And they'll be absolutely unprotected to deal with the environmental, economic, and societal upheaval that is coming. Yet for the dedicated minority who have habituated a battle-proof morning routine to defend their gifts, cultivated heroic personal restraint and developed a bulletproof character through the rigorous training of their muscles of self-discipline, the times ahead will be phenomenally rich, harmonious, and ultra-productive. Those who have armored themselves against the turbulence on its way by installing a world-class and carefully granulated morning ritual will actually be in a position to leverage all the messiness into humongous opportunity, and transform all the confusion into a supreme sense of clarity, genius, and calmness that allows them to win. Willpower. Remaining on the ground, he said, the single best way to build your willpower is to voluntarily put yourself into conditions of discomfort. The spellbinder calls these strengthening scenarios. When I was much younger and my ability to command myself to do what I needed to do when I didn't feel like doing it was much weaker, I'd give in to my lesser urges so easily. My self-discipline muscles were very flabby because I wasn't exercising them. The spellbinder knew I needed to become a lot stronger so I could install the 5 a.m. routine in a way that stayed with me my whole career. So, he had me actively put myself into situations of hardship. And it worked like magic. What kind of situations? Asked the artist. Once a week, I slept on the floor. You're serious? Quizzed the entrepreneur. Really? Absolutely, the billionaire confirmed. And I began taking cold showers every morning. Twice a week I'd fast, like so many of the most accomplished women and men of the world have done to capitalize on and manifest their primal power. It's remarkable how much time I'd save during the fasting windows when I wouldn't eat. And striking how clear my thinking would be and how much energy I'd have. Oh, and when I'd be at my loft in Zurich, to promote my toughness and grit, I'd do some hard winter training by running in the snow with only a t-shirt and a pair of shorts on. Science confirms it. The real key is to push your brain to develop new neural pathways and to force your willpower muscles to flex and stretch, intentionally working these natural resources up to their highest level. This is how anyone can become so strong, courageous, and undefeatable that, no matter what obstacles they face and difficulties they experience, they continue on their quest to meet their glorious goals. Why do you think Navy SEALs and members of the SAS true willpower warriors actively expose themselves to such potentially spirit-crushing scenarios? All those long runs in the rain, with heavy backpacks on, crawling through thick mud in the middle of the night, eating brutal food and living in a Spartan setting. Confronting their fears by performing tests like jumping into the ocean from cliffs, backwards, with blindfolds on, or enduring exercises involving psychological degradation so they train themselves to transcend what most limits them. Look, cats, bravery and the capacity to do the difficult things that are necessary for the fullest expression of your greatness isn't a divine blessing. No. Not at all. It's a voluntary practice. Toughness and a will of iron takes devotion. So, I very much suggest you begin to suffocate your demons, slay your dragons and hug your monsters by doing more demanding things. This is one of the surest routes to masterful achievement and a private life you'll be ever so proud of at the end. Habit construction. This simple model is based on the latest studies on how habits are formed, he began. Your starting point is to create some kind of a trigger. To embed the early rising ritual into your mornings, this could be as simple as having an old school alarm clock next to your bed that goes off at 5 a.m. It sounds obvious, but jump straight out of bed before your reasoning mind. The prefrontal cortex can give you a bunch of excuses about why you should go back to sleep. It's in this very moment that, by getting out of bed, you build the early rising neural circuit in your brain through the power of neuroplasticity. And remember, brain pathways that fire together wire together into a potent neural highway, over time. It's in the very instant when you're faced with staying on the mattress or standing up and starting your morning in a great way that you have the chance to make your willpower stronger. It's uncomfortable at the start, I know. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle and gorgeous at the end. The next step of the 4-part pattern to program in a new ritual is to make sure you have a preset reward in place. The reward is what kickstarts and then grows your drive to get the new habit done. Always use the power of rewards for the advancement of your triumphs. So, let's assume you do what you know to be right instead of following what's easy and sprint out of bed fast as soon as the alarm goes off. You need to set up a reward. That's what the eminent researchers on willpower tell us is essential to create behaviors that stick. Your reward for rising with the sun could be a nice piece of dark chocolate for dessert. At lunch. It could be taking a nap later in the day, another favored right of the planet's greatest creatives. It could be treating yourself to the book you've been wanting to buy for your library. You can figure out what feels right for you. The way to annihilate the weakest impulses of your lower self and to free yourself of the cravings and temptations that are blocking your best is through ceaseless repetition of the new behavior you're working hard to install. The word that comes to mind here is steadfast. Be steadfast in your commitment to remaining a lifelong member of the 5 a.m. club. Be absolutely dedicated and excuseless in following through on this life-altering self-promise. Each time you follow through, you'll deepen the relationship with your sovereign self. Each time you rise at dawn, you'll purify your character, fortify your willpower and magnify the fires of your soul. I guess what I'm trying to help you two wonderful people appreciate is that the real measure of your majesty is shown not in your outer moments before an audience, but in the soft and early light of lonely practice. You become undefeatable in the world by what you do when no one's watching. How to protect your willpower. Well, just remember that willpower weakens once it gets tired. Scientists call the condition ego depletion. See, you wake up each morning with a full battery of self-control. That's why I want you to do the activities that are most important to the rise of your inner empires at the time when your capacity is strongest at 5 a.m. Here's the thing, as you go through your day, going to meetings, checking messages, and performing tasks, your ability to self-regulate decreases and so does your capability to handle temptations and manage weak impulses. The fact that human discipline muscles get tired from all the decision fatigue explains why so many massively successful people end up doing something foolish that destroys their careers. They gave in to the urge that causes their downfall because all day long they were making important decisions. By the time it was evening, they had no willpower left in their battery to manage the craving. So, the key is rest and recovery of the self-control muscle, explained the billionaire. Never allow it to get too tired. Your willpower really is weakest when you are most tired. Key awareness to build on here. We make our worst decisions and our lowest choices when we're exhausted. So, don't allow yourself to get exhausted. Period. I have a powerful mentoring session on how the best in the world protect priceless assets like their willpower through the lost art of personal regeneration planned for you later.